Hi, everybody. This is Chris,
This is Matt.
and today we are talking about Castle Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein?
Wolfen
Wolfenstein?
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein?
Yeah, I should know
No one
how to.
knows.
Yeah, no. Oh, you could probably get fist fights over that. Um, That'd be fun. Mess with your friends.
Yeah.
Um, we want to sort of welcome all our new viewers. We've got a lot of new subscribers lately.
Yeah,
Say
well,
thank you for coming. I'll stop cutting off Matt when he says welcome. um, but yeah, thanks to InXile, thanks to Chrome. If you're coming here from the Bard's Tale trilogy discussion, and this is your first time viewing us, we normally have a discussion about games that are 20ish or more years old. We will do more modern retro things like Bard's Tale Trilogy. Nox Archaeist is one we're following, and Unknown Realm from Stirring Dragon Games. So games that are either really old or somehow tie back to like the original equipment, the original stuff we like to talk about here. Um, be nice in the comments if you're new here and you're coming to the community. We've got a pretty good one going. Everybody seems really friendly and helpful. I'd like to keep it that way. Um, but otherwise, these discussions are just that, discussions. They're not reviews. It's basically a book club where we pick a new game every month, basically twice a month, and we play it for that month and then we talk about it.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, usually one of them's short and one of them's kind of more in depth. And today, Wolfenstein is our short game.
Yes, it's the short games are something you could probably play in a day, get the sense of it, and understand the game. I would say that's fair for this game.
Yeah, yeah. It's 1981,
Yeah,
so the bar was pretty low for games in 1981 because, like, if you could make it do something, it was a game basically.
right.
And it's coming from a place of love. Like, I love these old games for how boiled down and their foibles and everything. But there's just not a ton here in Wolfenstein. It was interesting. It's important in the pantheon of games, but yeah,
It for its time, it like you said, it was important. It added a little bit of story to game, which at the time was normally just shoot the aliens.
hmm
The controls were basically dual stick controls, but with a keyboard, and we will talk about the controls.
oh yeah, yeah, we will.
Your guy looks like an alien. The Nazis look like SS troops and things like that. Should also talk about there's Nazis.
Yeah,
If you've got a problem with Nazis or something like that, then this is your time to get out.
was
Uh,
this like one of the first games that was kind of like indulgent in that way, like shooting
Shooting
people
Nazis.
you hate?
Well, I think all games were shooting people we hate. You generally don't shoot people you love. Uh,
Suppose, but like people, not like robots.
no, I mean like you had when was Death Race?
Oh yeah, Death Race. That's a good point.
I mean, yeah, 1976 for Death Race. So, oh, that's the movie though, isn't it? No,
Yeah,
Death Race is an arcade game, 1976. So yeah, I mean that sort of stuff's been around for forever. Uh, so no, I wouldn't say this is the first. I feel like this is the first stealthy action game.
David Carradine, not Peter. Sorry,
Potatoes. What are we talking about?
talking about stealth.
Oh,
That's what we're talking
stealth.
about.
Not
Not my,
David Carradine.
not. There's a lot of Carradines out there.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, like it's important because it's the first Wolfenstein game.
Mm-hmm.
It's important because it's the first game where stealth is really kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So if you're like interested in those things, like if you liked Thief or Metal Gear Solid or any of those stealth-based games, like this is kind of the first one.
Yeah.
That's being generous because it's not, I don't think it's super successful as a stealth game.
No, but
because
hmm,
you blow your cover in this game because it's the only way you can get people to move the fuck out of the way. That's like 100% of the reason I shot people when I was trying to be stealthy is
like
because I couldn't get past them.
like when you were in uniform and you were trying to get around them.
Yeah.
You know they won't walk into you, right?
If you walk into them, you get the buzzy.
If you walk into them, they will not walk into you. So what I was doing with the uniform is I'd like get in their way and they'd walk up to me and turn around and then I'd walk as far as I could and then they'd like turn around. Like you got to give them a little bit of a gap because of that. Um, Hang on just a second.
Sure. Oh no.
Yeah.
Good thing you don't have the walls of your home alarmed like they are in.
Right? um, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can, there are things you can do once you have the outfit on, but really it is a case of like once you have the outfit on, you're done. You know what I mean? Like you
I
can
mean,
pretty much walk around as long as you don't shoot anybody.
right. Right. But if there's like a hallway, that's the situation I would have. Like I'd have a little hallway that only one person can get through and the Nazi walks back and forth and you just can't get past them.
No, sometimes there were a couple places I actually had in one of my games where I started out in a room and I was behind a locked door. The exit was on the other side, and there was nothing for me to do. I shot the door. I wasted all 10 of my bullets. I couldn't get out. I had to create a new castle. So this is a random castle where you might possibly be stuck in an unwinnable castle.
Yeah, it's good you found out right away.
Yeah, like I would have been mad if I had been like all the way to the end, had one door to get out, and couldn't do that. Um,
Yeah, the persistent castle is one of the things about this that I was pretty impressed by. Like just from a technology standpoint, there were a few things that I was like, all right, that's pretty serious tech for 1980, whatever, 81.
eh. Because it is randomized. Like it
Right.
generates a random castle, and then so it is just a matter of. I want to know.
It's persistent between your games, like
Right. It saves the castle layout.
yeah,
What I've been trying to figure out in since I've been playing this is how it determined what the room layouts were. Like, did it have a basket of room layouts that it would put on top? Did it draw these walls in? Uh, because my first thought was it used the Berserk style math, where there are basically posts, and then it would connect them, and as long as everybody only connected once, you'd always have a way through the maze. But that's not how they do it because there's some places where there are posts that are just empty. So I'm wondering maybe sometimes posts are empty. I cannot figure out just from looking at this what the math was they did to fill in a room.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty cool. Like you mentioned, Berserk. This was heavily influenced by Berserk. Silas, what's the guy's name? Silas something? Carradine? Silas Warner
Silas Warner.
made this. Saw Berserk in the arcade, and then like a week later, he saw the Guns of the Navarone on television. He was
Oh,
like,
did he?
"I got a game. Like I'm doing it. Escape from the Nazis. Like
Huh.
Berserk." Yeah.
I didn't know that.
What you do? Thanks, Wikipedia.
I was gonna say.
I did my research.
I was actually sitting here looking up, going, "Did Berserk even come out beforehand?" But yeah, it definitely has a Berserk feel, especially the alarmed walls.
Yeah, let's talk about that because that is the worst thing. It's so bad. It's not as bad on the Commodore as it is on the Apple, but on the Apple, it's like the end of the world when you touch the wall and it takes so long to
Oh,
like get back into the game. It's so irritating.
I guess we should also warn people right now we're going to rag on this because if you think that's the worst thing in the game and not the chest that takes 6 minutes to old, I'm going to have words with you. Or
Yeah,
open, not old. So like yeah, like this one was relatively not bad. I think it was only 3 minutes to open, but I had a chest take 6 minutes to open. Six
right,
minutes of hitting the space bar, hands off the keyboard, doing nothing else but waiting for the chest to open.
right. And the ultimate kick in the balls is that after that, it takes another 10 seconds to get the shit out of the chest sometimes. Like,
Well, or you get cannonballs, which you
right,
can't use.
right. Thanks.
Thanks. Or sauerkraut. I mean, thank you. We don't really have a health system here. I can't tell, and it's maybe, but
No. Like, I don't, I'm very little German, but the idea of keeping sauerkraut in a chest in your castle seems alien to me.
you think there might be some refrigeration technology we should be talking about for you?
I mean, it's essentially rotten food already, but still, put it in a jar. Don't leave it. Your whole castle is going to smell like sauerkraut if you do that. I promise you.
You just can't get that smell out.
No, no.
So there's the alarmed walls where every time you walk in you make a mistake rather than just stop you, it screams an alarm.
Yep.
There
And
is
the
there is
screen like freaks out. Yeah, that right there.
yeah. There is the abysmal time it takes to open a chest. But really, the centerpiece of what makes this miserable is the controls.
Oh God, this game is about mastering the worst controls. So I was thinking about it a lot, and the only thing I can think
Wait,
of
wait,
is
before you say anything,
yeah, go.
I want to I want to just say this outright. Whether you agree with ESDF or WASD, these are worse than either by far.
It's definitely yeah, right. Like you can't do QWEADZXC. It's just not okay to do that. It's terrible.
That's if you're on the Apple. Okay, so got anything else to say about controls? Because man, I got so much to say about
Oh,
controls.
I got a lot to say. I
Go,
was
you
gonna say
go.
I think the game was probably it might be really awesome with paddles, but that's just not a thing that exists anymore in the world.
Yeah,
Maybe it's really a super good time with paddles and we're just like barking up the wrong tree with this keyboard thing.
definitely not than the joystick thing.
Yeah, the joystick is as bad or worse than the keyboard.
I'd say worse because the whole point of the joystick is to take your hands off the keyboard, and so the joystick you can move, the joystick you can aim by holding down the button, but to fire, I still got to reach over and hit a key or hit Q. So my hand is actually farther from the actionable item than if I
Right.
just left it on the keyboard, which is why I ended up using keyboard for this.
Right. And the other problem that we haven't really touched on, like you could roll with the keyboard layout. It could be possible if you didn't have to manually stop your guy. That's so ridiculous. And the fucking walls are alarmed. Like, how does that make any sense? It's so frustrating because you'll just like walk into the walls all the
hmm
time.
Yeah,
And it shoots
it's like a
at you.
light cycle game with Berserk.
Yeah. Like, why do you when you're walking, do you ever just like forget to stop in your life? Has that ever happened?
Well,
No.
there's this one time.
You always do this. Yeah, you just have to. You can't just let me have it, can you?
No, no, I don't think there's ever been a time I forgot to stop walking. There have been times I've walked into things even though I should totally have known better, but there's never been
Right.
a time where I've just, stopped walking.
Right. But that's what happens in Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
You're like, you just forget to stop.
Well, and like people bump into stuff. You would think the guards would occasionally just like trip over something in the hall and touch the wall and have everything scream.
Right.
It'd get annoying after a while. Like maybe we
The
shouldn't alarm every wall. Maybe just the doors. Doors aren't. Are the doors alarmed? Yeah, the doors are alarmed. Chests are alarmed. Anything on the floor is alarmed. Everything you touch is an alarm.
right. Can you imagine like the Fuhrer wakes up at night, gets up looking for a crate of sauerkraut, and then touches the wall, and the whole castle wakes up?
Yeah.
That's
No, it's not
it's not
good.
a good way to live your life.
No.
I
So
also love that the SS uniform makes you look like the Joker from Batman.
it
It's like
kind of does, doesn't it?
it's ridiculous. That is a swastika on there, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Or an
It's
F.
so bad. You
It's an
can
F.
tell on the Commodore.
Yeah.
You can tell on the Commodore. Maybe I'll show the Commodore here in a little bit, but you can tell on the Commodore. Um, and I played both versions, which is where I want to get into on controls. So, Apple controls: QWE, ASD, ZXC, almost WASD. You can almost be okay with that. To aim your gun, it's IOP, KL, colon, less than, greater than, question mark, because reasons. Um, like, dude, that's not even home row, man. Like that's you've taken the worst of all worlds here.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And the middle button in that like square is shoot and stop walking
on your version
on Apple, right?
on
I played
Apple,
Apple.
and then like T is grenade. Let me pull it up. I actually have the instructions here. Let me pull up. Stop movement, fire gun. Grenade is T, and use contents open chest is U.
Yeah.
And then you hit enter to know your stuff. Let me real quick.
The Nazis look like cowboys, which is interesting. Like oddly shaped cowboys or cowboys wearing capes.
Yeah. Yeah, they got weird hats on. It doesn't really like when they come back. That's totally a cowboy thing. Your guy looks like a
Like a skull.
yeah, like a skull or an alien or something like that going on. Um, I'm trying to find the instructions here for it because the Commodore ones, it's ERT, DFG, CVB, and
Ooh.
the fire is the tilde. So your movement
Oh.
is your left hand. The fire is also on that side, uh, on the opposite hand from your gun hand. And so that's why I want to look up the instructions, just because.
And the thing that's so weird about that is this was originally out on the Apple. So they
Right.
made the keyboard controls worse when they ported it to the Commodore,
Well,
right?
and this is where like I played emulator versions of this. My I have Wolfenstein for Commodore somewhere in my stack, but I wasn't able to find it in time. But it's hard to kind of wrap our heads around. Each of those systems had their own keyboards and own layout. It was still QWERTY. It was still the alphabet was in the same place. Everything else was up for grabs.
That's a good point. Yeah. So your tilde may have been somewhere appropriate for that layout.
Yeah.
Maybe you've got a Commodore over there.
Yeah,
Is it?
well, I don't have it in front of me. I'd have to go find it. But yeah, it's um yeah, but I think it's 8. I have an
Okay.
internet in front of me.
Yeah, you do. A lot of stuff on that there internet. Yeah, we should make people sit here in silence for
Well, yeah, that's kind of why like I don't want to
best.
get too into this.
They can get
Go
the full Wolfenstein experience without having to play it.
It's next to the return.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense,
I
I guess.
think so. No, that's just a dash. No, it is up next to the one. Okay, I got no answers. I got no answers on this one. This is just a bad. This was just bad. Um, yeah, the controls are just so bad, and
I, the best moments I had though playing Wolfenstein
mhm.
were getting into a jam, something happens, and I have to quickly manipulate the controls and shoot a Nazi. Those were like the most exciting, rewarding parts of playing this game, aside
Mhm.
from exploring the maze. I think the maze aspect is probably the best part, but from an action standpoint, but it's also intensely frustrating because it just shouldn't be like that.
No, it is. It is at its heart a maze game, and there's some extra things added to the maze game. So back in the day when, like, there was a game I'd play in the computer lab as a kid just called Maze. It was just a 3D maze, and you just walked around the maze, and that was awesome to us. Um,
Right?
so I
That's what
mean,
it was like too for the Apple. I played that a lot.
yeah. So like I get it. For the time, this was an incredible game. But usually I can say go back because you'll learn this interesting nugget, or you'll have this little thing we can take away from here that really we lost. I don't think we lost a goddamn thing. I
Yeah,
hate to say it. It's
it gave us a great series though. Like the first PC game I ever saw that made me go home and tell my mom, we have to get an 86 base computer was Wolfenstein 3D.
I can see that.
So
Um,
thank you, for that, but that's being quite generous to this because it's not even the same company. This was Muse.
well, just got done going through Masters of Doom, a book about id and how it came up to be. And like they were starting to make the 3D game and decided they wanted Castle Wolfenstein, so they looked up the rights and they had lapsed.
Right, because Muse went bankrupt, I
Yeah,
think.
and no one picked them up. And I think that may be the most interesting part of this whole saga and series is the copyright angle on it. That
Yeah.
we have, you know, a developer who worked for a company, the company folded, he didn't keep the stuff. I mean, he might still have access to the game, but not the trademark or the licensing. Um, we were talking about, I'm trying to remember what game it was that I just heard about, where one company owns the rights to the license, another company owns the rights to the trademark, and another company owns the rights to the code.
Oh no.
That is never getting re-released. That game is gone
Mm-hmm.
because by the time all those things lapse, and that's a thing that can happen in these old games. I really, and this is on the heels of like Nintendo shutting down Emu Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, they technically didn't shut it down. They threatened to sue and Emu shut down, which I get. I would too. Uh, what do you? I don't know. It bothers me that no one who's making the art is making an effort to preserve the art, and the people who are maybe got into it for dubious reasons, but could we try and find a compromise?
Yeah, just from a preservation standpoint, you know?
Yeah. So, the other thing that's interesting about this, getting back on topic, it's an open world game.
It is an open world game, kind
It's an
of.
early open world game. It's very sandbox. Like I'm sneaking past all these guys rather than going in guns ablazing. I get to pick how I want to do this. If I want to engage or ignore or stop for every chest or not, map it out or don't. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah, you could kind of map this out and map the entrances and exits and kind of.
Yeah.
I didn't do that because I didn't want to.
No, I didn't either because
It's not really that complicated. Like you can, if you get stuck, you just walk back till you find another entrance or exit. But you
yeah,
could,
yeah.
and there's like a little sub quest to find the war plans and such.
hmm
It's kind of
Well,
like when you find them, you're like, oh yeah, yeah, I did it.
yeah. I
Some
mean,
safe world.
yeah. It's it's a game. It was important at its time. It gave us first-person shooters, and is a good example of what happens when copyright just gets lost in the mix. So,
Yeah. The other thing that was so I mentioned there were a few things that were technically impressive to me.
hmm
The dynamically generated castle is one of them. The fact that if you step away from the chest, because it takes 8 minutes to open,
yes,
you come back, it remembers where you were in the countdown.
yeah,
Thank God, because
yeah.
it would not be playable otherwise.
No, it really wouldn't.
And the voices, this was like one of the first games to use synthesized voices, and they yell at you in German,
hmm
and you can't understand it at all, but they're still voices, like unmistakably.
Oh man, did I close it? I hope I didn't close it. The Wolfenstein manual actually gives the German word and what it means.
I love that.
I
And they're
loved that.
all like
That
same thing. Stop. Come here.
yup.
Yeah, and
So
it's pretty cool. Like it's all garbled and computery, but
yeah,
you can't really play it with the sound up too loud because every time you walk into the wall, it shrieks at you, and that's horrible.
and the screen jitters and yeah, if you have like
Dog and
all right. Well, anything else we want to say about this? This is one of our short ones, and we knew it was going to be a short one. So rather than rehash controls or graphics or anything again, let's.
A useful bit of trivia: in 1983, someone hacked this and made it into Castle Smurfenstein, where all the Nazis are replaced by Smurfs. Might be more fun than this.
It would at least be something interesting to find.
Yeah,
I might look that up. I kind of wish I hadn't known that before just now. I might have had that
yeah,
going. Because I wonder how good it looks.
right. I mean, they don't look unsmurf-like now. They look like, ironically enough, they look kind of like dreidels, which is totally inappropriate.
Oh my god.
No, well,
Uh,
yeah. Sorry, everyone.
all right.
Okay, we're done. Thanks.
We're done. I think we're done now.
That unsubscribe button.
Yep. Thanks for watching. No. So next month I'm going to transition here. Boop. Next month our big game is Star Control.
2.
Two. Oh, two. Yes. I've got the wrong
Oh,
graphic up again.
oh,
Man. Amateur hour. Star Control 2. 2.
yeah,
2.
2.
2. 2. And our short game will be the Oregon Trail, which I know we're going to love.
Yeah,
It's just going
everyone.
to be fun to play. Just play Oregon Trail for a day or two sometime in the next month and come back and talk with us about it because that's going to be a blast.
Yeah, sure. We love a good dysentery story, so
Love good dysentery stories. So,
post them in the comments.
yep. uh, anything else we want to talk about?
No, just thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Talk to you later.